Coach Lie, your favorite neighborhood therapist, having real hard convos, contrasting pessimists. Generational trauma explored, broach delicate, getting to the root of the pain, healing impediments. Every week signs copay, free lessons. Bet on self, trust the process, no questions. Feel your feels, journey to be healed, no stressing. Conversations with Coach Lie's now in session.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Coach La La La. Your favorite around the way therapist is in the building. How y'all feeling out there? Happy Sunday. I'm happy to be a part of your morning routine. Shout out to my Urban Heat family, all those that went out to the beach with us yesterday. It's our 6th annual Urban Heat Hampton Beach takeover. It was a beautiful day with all of our wonderful listeners, families, and friends. And yeah, we did our thing. We was out there frolicking. I had everybody frolicking in the water, and you know, I had to get them to frolic. They was like, Coach, you got us out here frolicking? Absolutely. Let's frolic, people. Other than that, you know, it's been a pretty smooth day. The weather's out really nice here in Boston, and we are enjoying ourselves. So I am hoping that everyone is doing well on your side of the world, wherever you're tuning in from. Shout out to everybody that's in Japan and Switzerland, and where else did I see people? Brazil. I was like, okay, I'm international, y'all. Go, Coach. Go, Coach. I'm international, baby. So welcome to Conversations with Coach La, where every conversation is an opportunity for you to better on yourself by believing in your healing, empowering your purpose, and transforming your life. So you already know what we do on the virtual couch. So today's episode may prove to you that sometimes the loudest laugh comes after the hardest season. People see the jokes, the applause, and the punchlines, but often they don't see the pain behind the performances and what inspires it. So today we're going to be talking about resilience, mental health, and purpose, and why laughter might be one of the greatest forms of medicine that we have. I have my radio brother. I have watched this young man, you want to say, but he's a grown-ass man, excuse me. I hope I can say that on the radio, but, you know. Just really command social media, be innovative in so many different ways. For nearly a decade, he has been killing crowds and building a powerhouse legacy in stand-up comedy. With over 9 years of commanding the stage, Demetrius Hullum has solidified his reputation as a powerhouse voice in stand-up comedy, known for his sharp wit, authentic storytelling, and undeniable stage presence. Demetrius brings a commanding yet deeply relatable energy to every room he plays. He is a staple in the Boston comedian scene. He's also doing his thing right here on Urban Heat because he has The Last Laugh that comes on Sundays now at 10 p.m. And he's a fierce competitor on the national circuit. He has entered the scene with so many accolades and earned his stripes as the finalist in both Boston's Comedy Festival and the Northwest Comedy Festival. His reputation for reliability and crowd-killing sets has made him a go-to choice on national touring acts. He recently hosted for Sam J at Boston's iconic Wilbur Theater, and he also took the stage at Netflix is a Joke in Los Angeles. Whether he's headlining a local showcase or producing independent comedy or hosting for national headliners, Demetrius Big D Hullum is the man, delivering an unforgettable comedic experience every single time. So without further ado, let me welcome my guest to the virtual couch. Make sure his mic is on because we need to make sure he's just live and in charge because Big D is in the building. Hey, what's going on, my brother?
What's going on, Coach Lau? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. How you feeling?
I feel really good, man. I'm tired physically, but mentally I'm sharp. I'm good.
Yeah, man. You've been doing your thing. Last night you had a show too. You know, you stay booked and busy.
Booked and busy.
Booked and busy.
Booked and out of trouble. That's how.
Well, they say that, right?
Right.
You know, an idle brain is a black man's.
The idle mind is the devil's playground.
You know what the saying is. So tonight we talk. Well, you see what I did?
Yeah,
I'm so used to
it's okay.
This morning, you guys, We are going to be talking about comedy with purpose and the healing power of laughter. And I thought it would be good to have you come on because a lot of people, mistake comedians for always being jokesters. But there's a method to the madness. So tell us, who was Big D before Big D was Big D, and we could Google you and see you on all these stages? Like, what would we be surprised to know about you?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm from Roxbury, the South End.
Me too. Did you know that?
Yeah, I grew up in Mandela, right on Washington and Mass Ave. And I bounced around a lot as a kid. So being from Boston as a kid, I moved to North Carolina. I lived in North Carolina for a minute, then I moved back to Boston. Then I was in Danvers for a while. Danvers, Massachusetts. My pops got a union job. He moved to the suburbs. And then I moved back down south. I was just all over. So I moved around a lot. And then I finally landed in Connecticut before I transferred. But I was just a goofball, a class clown. I never even finished high school. So
Lord.
Yeah, so I was in the streets. I was doing a lot of crazy things. I mean, I was just a kid that was lost in the world. That was it.
Wow, I never knew that about you. I mean, definitely the Boston roots, but I can see you being a class clown though.
Oh, I was definitely a class clown. But it was one of those things. It's like, when you're a class clown, you're just trying to get through, get by. That's your way of deflection. And I was an attention seeker, so that was me.
Has anything changed about that now?
No, it definitely hasn't changed.
You're still a
attention seeker, yeah. I mean, that's why I do stand up. All eyes are on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to hide that about myself. There's certain flaws or whatever I might have about myself that I feel I have, but I lean into those things and try to make them positive, So
tell me this, right? When did you realize making people laugh was your gift?
I feel like everybody has that gift of making people laugh.
You think so? Because some people don't.
Some people don't. So. Yeah, some people don't. But those people we just find funny. You know what I mean?
But they don't really want to be funny.
Yeah, they might.
We laughing at them, not with them.
So yeah, I mean, I guess like the first time I experienced that was the first time I went on stage. I made people laugh, and it really threw me off because people were laughing. I just was able to control a room. The first moment I realized though was during my aunt's funeral, which is crazy. I went up to speak at my aunt's funeral, and I had the whole crowd laughing, and I had them crying.
Wow!
And I realized in that moment how powerful laughter is. Wow! Laughter can heal.
Right.
And in that moment of pain, we were laughing at stuff that my aunt used to do. And I kind of realized then that wow, that's kind of a powerful thing, but I didn't know where it could go.
Yeah. It's so interesting how certain people kind of like literally fall into their gift.
Yeah.
There's a saying I have that sometimes your biggest opportunity is disguised as bad news. Like, not everybody who's really in their purpose knew that their purpose was their purpose. It just sort of like happens.
Yeah, that's
true.
And
then you just got to be brave enough to kind of stick with it. Yeah. Because some people will come up and be like, there ain't gonna be no money in that comedy. You need to let that thing go. I know you're a good dancer, but there ain't no real money in you being no dancer. You need to go get a real job.
Right.
I think that there's a lot of nuggets in following and listening or seeing people who go after something that a lot of people are afraid to do. Because I'm sure there's a lot of funny people, but they don't go.
It's a million funny
right?
people.
They don't go and say, you know what, I'm gonna take this thing seriously and I'm gonna put myself out there, aka I'm gonna bet on myself. And that's one of the things I've admired about just once I got to know who you were, how you're creating opportunities for yourself and putting yourself out there and not just waiting for things to come to you or find you, because people want to be discovered. Like, social media has allowed us all to be discovered in so many ways. Like, and you can go do these comedy clubs and just put yourself out there.
And now, discovery starts with self, though. You know what I mean?
All right, now I love it when you give me a segue, baby.
No, discovery definitely starts with self. And, when you discover yourself and you realize what you're capable of and where you could go and what you can do, there's no stopping you.
Yeah.
And it's really about taking that chance. Most people after my shows always come up to me and say, I want to do comedy. How can I get into this? I'll tell them, go to an open mic and just start, or start in the mirror. And 9 times out of 10, they don't do it.
Right.
The people that do, I end up seeing them on the circuit. So,
what's interesting about that, and I think we've talked about this online, is like the moment that you bomb, the embarrassment of it not landing and people not laughing. And shout out to Jonathan Gates. He said once, some people come to a comedy show and sit there like, make me laugh.
Yeah.
Where other people come and they're in the spirit of like, I'm gonna enjoy myself, and they're ready to laugh, right? Yeah. So they can find humor in all of the jokes, right, where other people like, he ain't that funny.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that when you get an audience that you got people sitting there saying, make me laugh?
I mean, you have to know your audience. You know what I'm saying? One thing about being a comedian, comedians are masters at psychology, and I say that in with carefulness, because we're not PhD doctors or nothing like that, but you have to understand the room. You have to be able to read the room. You know what I mean? And you get into a room and you see the scowls on people's faces. You might, the kitchen may have closed down. They may have ran out of food. Now everybody's mad, and you got to figure it out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I approach that with the same reverence as I do any other room. I go there to do my job. If I can make these people laugh and bring half of these people out of whatever funk they were in, I'm doing my job.
Right.
Because I'm in the service industry. My job is to service the people and give them what they want, which is laughter. Mm-hmm. It's a hard job to do when you're in those types of situations, but comedy is about being relatable and making things funny. So if you can relate to people, if I see somebody in the crowd with a scowl on their face, I'm gonna address it.
Call them out.
Yeah, call them out on it. What did you come to a comedy show for? If you just want to like this,
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Now, talk to me about this. Was comedy always something you saw as a career, or was it initially as survival?
No, I didn't. So I worked in the mental health field. I worked in, I worked in residential treatments. I worked at respites. I worked at group homes with adolescent teens, and I did that for about 10 years in Connecticut. When I had my son, I worked at this place called Waterford Country School, and I learned a lot.
The irony of a comedian once upon a time working in the mental health industry.
I know that's
right, but and being on the virtual couch. Right. Now that's something I didn't know about you. I don't know of other people. I did not know that. But I think, to do this work, often you have to have a sense of humor. You have to help people see not to take life so serious. Like, you got to sometimes just look at the irony and the contradictions and laugh at it.
Well, you learn from the people that you're around. I mean, working in the mental health field, I'm around these kids that are resilient. They're going through battles. They're fighting all types of demons, sexual assaults, and like really deep stuff, losing parents to drugs, a lot of like tragic things, but they still find a way to laugh, have fun, activities, stuff like that, trying to figure out how to get their mind off of things. I had people do that for me in my life when I was younger, through the Boys and Girls Club, stuff like that, because every project where I grew up had a Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, a YMCA or
something, you know what I mean?
A Bird Street. Shout out to all of the community centers, man. That's holding it down. I had the pleasure of doing some work with the Matter Hunt this past Friday, and I was with a group of teens. They call them super teens in the city, and we talked about mental health and managing your emotions. And I thought about that. There was always a me or you that would come give back to the kids, spend time with the kids, mentor.
Think about it. Like, that's where we come from.
Yeah. It felt good to be with them and just be able to give back. Real good. Yeah. What's a part of your story the audience doesn't get a chance to see?
I mean, to be honest with you, as a comedian, it's a lonely game. You know what I mean? Like, I get on stage sometimes, and I did the Wilbur Sam J, right? And it's packed. It's a big crowd. We got the Wilbur Theater, and a few years before that, I opened up for Eddie Griffin at the Wilbur Theater, and the show was sold out. And I remember all these people coming up to me after the show, and they're like, "Oh my God, you were so good, and you were great." And then I had to take that train ride back home by myself. Nobody knows me. You know, that's one thing I feel like people don't understand about comedy. They think you're adorned, and you are praised, but at the end of the day, you're by yourself. You know what I mean? With your thoughts. And so for some comedians, that's their only release. Just being able to get on stage and just talk out their issues, their problems and stuff. Not saying that the stage should be a therapy couch for you, but you know.
Well, I think too, when people see you doing, okay, you're opening for Eddie Griffin, you're opening up for Sam J, you've arrived, right? You know, people see us do radio and they think, yeah, man, they bringing in the bucks, right? Like we paid out the yin yang.
Right.
And often, right, we still hustling and bustling.
They don't know we out here getting paid in chicken wings.
But you know, so I think that's a big misconception is that, you know, you get sometimes the stardom before you get the wealth.
It's passion over profit.
Talk about it.
You know, when you have a passion for something, right? And you start doing it on a day-to-day basis, you're not even thinking about it. It's not even a thought in your mind. You know, you just get up and do it. It's like brushing your teeth for some, you know. And you start doing this thing and you're not worried about the money, because what ends up happening is because you're passionate about it, you put your heart and soul into this thing and the money follows. You know, I didn't start getting paid and doing comedy until I was good enough.
What's that mean though? Because isn't that subjective?
It is subjective, but it was more so on how I approach the business. Am I showing up to the show on time? Am I doing my time? Am I avoiding talking about certain things in order to try to not, you know, make other people, you know, upset or uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
You know, am I being respectful? Am I doing my job? You
know? You had to actually start looking at it not as a hobby, but as an actual career.
When I first got into it and I got my first check, I just realized at that moment, I was like, I got paid from using my words to make people laugh. And most of it was just crapping on white people. You know what I mean? So I was like, I can get paid for this. So I'm gonna do this. I treated it like a business off the bat. So when I first started, people thought I had been doing comedy for years. They were like, "Oh, so you have a website? You have this? You have that?" And I'm like, "Well, no. I just know about branding myself,
right,
and betting on myself." That's
and I remember saying to you, I was like, "Wow, you got some of the best content." That I have seen, and you had talked about, you know, the intersection of some of the older comedians that's been in the game a little bit longer, not making that transition to be able to see how to use social media and use all of these platforms without having the big brand deals and things like that. And I think that's something that the younger comedians got a leg up if they use it, right? Like you literally can build your own ad campaign and book your own show,
right,
and create your own momentum and your own buzz, and as they call it, your own motion, right?
Well, nowadays there's no excuse. I mean, you have to really think about it, right? If you wanted to start a business today and you didn't know where to go, what to do, we have the internet. You can search it, you can Google search, whatever. Now we have AI.
Yeah, ChatGPT is a beast.
ChatGPT, all this other stuff or whatever. You can use these things, these tools to help you, you know, to help you grow or strategize when it comes to social media and stuff like that. The thing is that younger people are being raised in it, whereas the older generation have to go back and relearn.
And
for a lot of people, you know, when you get older, you don't want to go back and relearn.
Right.
But that's scary. How you grow.
And you know, I said this to someone else. I said, everything that we have started off with someone's idea and people were resistant.
Right.
You know, at one point in time, we didn't have electricity running through our houses and people were resistant and they still wanted their candles.
Look at segregation. You know, as soon as integration came, you know what I'm saying, people were outside protesting. They didn't like it. You know, but then they had to get comfortable with it.
Got better at it. This was going
to happen anyway. So.
Yeah. So we fight against things that we feel uncomfortable with, or make us feel like what we was doing was wrong, right? And I think we got to have a growth mindset. A lot of people don't know what that means, but I think that speaks to a comedian too. You have to take chances on stage, right? You know, hey, you wrote this great set and it doesn't land. Is it that the jokes didn't land? Was the timing off? But some people have to be okay with failing, and I use that loosely, in front of the world, right? And making a mistake.
That's the biggest piece, though.
Yeah. Because that messes with your mental health. When you stand up there, everybody's staring at you, and you saying the joke, you thought the joke was great, and nobody laughs.
Nobody laughs.
And you go, shit, I suck. Right? You gotta move past that and be like, no, I don't suck. I'm gonna try again.
Yeah, nobody laughs.
So let's transition into my next segment, right? Right. Nobody laughs. That must suck, right? I had that happen in therapy though. As a therapist, you think you got this great analogy, and the client just looks at you like, nah,
that's not it.
I
don't even eat tacos.
I don't get it. What are you talking about? Nah, that don't make sense. I'm not gonna do that. You know, I don't think you're a good fit for me, coach. So what happens, right? So let's talk about therapy. What does therapy mean to you, right? So as a therapist, we often say humor can be a coping skill, but sometimes it can also become a mask. And I think there's a plus and a minus to that, right? Code switching is real. But for you, how's therapy playing into your life, not playing into your life? Do you believe in it, not believe, think it's BS?
Well, working in mental health for so long, I believe that therapy is vital for a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have behaviors that are based off of their trauma. You know, everybody's been traumatized and everybody goes through things. But it's how you manage that trauma. It's how you deal with it. You know, were you assaulted at 10 and, you're 60 and you still talk about it? You know, how do you manage, dealing with the traumas that you go through? For comedians, their outlet is going on stage to get out whatever it is. For some people, it's better to just talk in therapy. But I think everybody that has been through some type of trauma, even if you haven't, just being able to talk out things with others can help. And so therapy for me, I went through a toxic relationship for a long time. For 10 years, it was a very toxic relationship. And in that toxic relationship, I seeked out mental health help because I felt like I was breaking down. I felt like I wasn't, being the man that I needed to be. And, after going through therapy, I realized that a lot of the things that I was dealing with were based off of traumas that I had already experienced in my past. So sexual abuse trauma, abandonment trauma, issues, with my father leaving and stuff like that. Dealing with those things translates into your relationships, whether they're business or personal. So if you're not willing to take the time to mentally be able to clear it out, and it's not that going to therapy doesn't change what happened to you, right? It just changes your perspective on how you approach life in a way. So for me, being sexually abused as a child, I realized that as a child, there was nothing that I could do. As a grown man, yeah, I could do something as a grown man. Nobody could do anything to me as a grown man. But as a child, there's nothing you can do. So how do you translate that as a man? You move forward in life with purpose. You'll be a protector, a healer, and that's what I feel comedy does for me. So comedy is my way of being able to help protect, heal people from the pains that they have already been through, their traumas that they've already dealt with.
Listen, y'all hear this? You guys are tuned to Conversations with Coach La La La. We got Big D on here dropping nuggets. He sound like a whole therapist, y'all. I didn't even have to say nothing. I'm like, wait a minute. I told y'all comedians be having some nuggets. Y'all think they just all fun and games and jokey jokes, but you got to sit down and really dig deep sometimes to understand why people do what they do. Understanding your why. Laughter is so important. My sister, shout out to my sister, she said that too. She said she goes on Netflix and just looks for comedy shows to watch, especially when she's in a bad mood. I often promote you, Jonathan. I'm like, listen, add comedy, go into a comedy show, poetry, add that to your social calendar to balance out life.
Right.
If all you do is just go to that once a month and just allow yourself to laugh and just put down the stress, the trauma, the burdens, and just enjoy yourself, it's so necessary. It's just necessary, y'all.
Poetry, comedy, it is all therapy.
All of it.
It's a link to the old world.
Oh, the old world.
You got to think about it. Like,
what's the old world?
Because the old world was everything was personal. In order to go to a comedy show, you gotta be up close to the comedians. You know what I'm saying? You go to a poetry slam or a poets night, and you're up close, personal with the people. You're living. You're not in your phone. The performance is right in front of your face.
Yeah, that is probably one thing that has taken away from the intimacy of shows, is that everybody's trying to get content. Right. But I get it too, right? To a certain extent, back in the day, we had Polaroids, right? You snap your pictures, got to go get them developed. People want to remember these moments and be able to go back and play it over and over and over and over again. So I understand. I'm not throwing no shade. I get you. Shout out to DJ Wade in the building. Mike Carrier, thank you for tuning in. And Goose, what's up, Goose? Thanks for being on the live and Instagram. I see y'all. Y'all are all checking in. And TikTok, I see y'all too. Thanks for listening to Conversations with Coach La La La. Got Big D. If you didn't know, Boston has a black radio, and we are the Urban Heat, and you can find us on iHeartRadio. So go download that app, subscribe, and make sure you don't miss any of our shows, because we're on 24/7, 7 days a week. All right. How do you protect your own mental health? Yes, I know you got the laughter and you got comedy and you got all the things, but you're not exempt from having a bad day or even. There's been a couple of videos where you were like, I almost let this comedy stuff go. How do you push through on those moments?
To be honest with you, man, life is a grind, life is a journey, and nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? We all face moments where you feel pressured, you feel overwhelmed, you want to just quit. You've battled enough. Think about it as a comedian. You go on stage and you grind every night. You're doing open mics, you're doing shows, and it doesn't translate to anything after the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year. You don't get recognized. Like, what do you do to keep going?
Right.
One of the things that you said earlier was you have to find your why. Mm-hmm. And finding your why is really personal to you. What is it that pushes you? So for me, I push through regardless, because I know that this is something that is for me. At the end of the day, as much service that I do to everybody else, this is for me. And it's for my own validation, my own sickness, my own ADHD. I use everything that I feel like was a disadvantage to me growing up as a kid as an advantage now. ADHD, PTSD, all that stuff. I use it to my advantage now.
I love that, because that's when you start to really flip the script. That's the plot twist, those pivots. When you use things that people once could use against you, which I think comedians do really, really well. Like, if people used to tease you about not being cute, if you was, bald-headed scallywag, whatever you got, right? You flip it.
You flip it.
And you make that now become your strength. And then I think it's relatable, because a lot of people go through some of the same stuff, like the fat jokes, the skinny jokes, growing up poor. We as Black folks do it really well. I don't always understand white people jokes. I mean, no disrespect. No disrespect to my white folks. But sometimes I do be a little lost with y'all jokes. But I think for the most part, Black folks, we relate, right? We go to our culture, we get it. I remember one of these interviews that Eddie Murphy did, and he said when he first started out, all he could really talk about was being poor and taking a dump.
Right.
And so talk about. So how has your comedy evolved as you've evolved and had more life experience? Have you seen shifts in your subject matter?
Yes, definitely. Recently, I just been writing jokes. Most of my jokes are just relatable stuff that I talk about my son, growing up in Boston, being here from Boston. But I do a lot of relationship jokes. I do a lot of
we heard that. I almost got you in trouble.
Yeah, Marv did not like that.
Yeah, man. Cool. He was talking about big girls and how we taste and stuff.
These are jokes.
No disrespect. This is daytime television. I gotta keep it clean.
But those are like dirty club, like late night jokes. I have other jokes that are intricate. Like, I got a joke about my grandfather bringing me to the store, and then we got disrespected by a white guy, and he called us the N-word, and that was my first time experiencing racism. I got a joke where I talk about my grandfather and how he was the first Black man in Boston to go to a library after segregation, like as soon as it ended. And even though they're like heavy subjects and it makes people uncomfortable, I'm able to flip it. I talk about how the Black diaspora has changed and how Black Americans in Boston are being pushed out and they're leaving the city. Mm-hmm. And then, more of our Black culture is not necessarily a Black culture, but, it's island culture. It's not Negro.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different.
And I think that's what the world wanted to do, is just kind of smush everybody, smush all the white people together,
smush all the
black people. When you really start to dissect it, you'll realize there's Polish people,
right?
There's Italians.
I was just talking.
All white people are not the same people, no. And all black folks are not the same. And those nuances is what really makes culture important and makes the jokes hit too, because there's certain things that y'all think you even did some Spanish jokes.
Of course I do Spanish jokes. Everybody thinks I'm Spanish. That's the problem. Like nobody thinks I'm regular black. I'm like, yo, bro, I am regular.
Are you?
I am 100% Negro.
Yeah, are you?
My mother is from Brooklyn, New York. My pops was born in Birmingham, Alabama, but he is from Boston.
There's a 1% black. What was
that? Yeah, I am 100%. I'm 100% Negro.
You got 3/4 Negro in you. You are Negro.
I grew up off of chitlins. And
I don't eat chitlins, but I don't like hot sauce.
You got to understand. So growing up here in Boston, I was people don't even know this. United House of Prayer for All People was my place. I was there every Sunday, but I worked in the kitchen with one of the deacons, the deaconesses.
Uh-huh.
So they always had the soul food and everything. So I was cooking greens and cutting up greens, making mac and cheese and prepping it and stuff like that. This was young.
Is that why you got the name Big D?
I got the name Big D. I got the name Big D from my pops. My pops' name is Big D, but he's not big at all. He's not. I mean, he used to be like muscular and stuff, but he's not. He's
really.
Yeah, he's.
I don't know why we do that. Big D, little this.
I don't know
will never get this whole idea of Biggie Smalls.
Well,
how you get a Biggie and a Smalls at the same time?
I know a lot of people that are Biggie and Small at the same time.
That was the weirdest thing. Biggie Smalls.
You ever see somebody? Yeah, that Jabba the Hutt look. No, but they be skinny though at the same time.
I call that the upside down triangle or Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall bodies.
I call it a thumb. That's what I call it.
So who checks on the comedian? So how do you? Because I'm sure you're the one that people expect to come bring the vibes, the laughs. But when you're not in that space, who does that for you?
Nobody.
Nobody.
That's the. I mean, to be truthfully honest with you, that's the dark side of comedy. You
don't have no go-to comedians that you go listen to that can take you out that funk that you like.
No. Because nothing. I'll explain it like this. You go through so much. You put on for so many people, and I know a lot of mothers can relate to this. Especially if you have a large family. You taking care of everybody. You doing everything for everybody. You trying to make sure that everything is getting done and everything else. Who takes care of you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I started making.
Even if you had a dude, like the dude can't. It's like a dude can give you satisfaction for a second, but he's not taking care of what you really need.
I guess that goes back to what do you need, right? And are you able to articulate that? I know for me, getting out of that mindset that people can read my mind and just starting to ask for what it is, right? And
right.
I shout out to my nephews. Took all my nephews to the beach, all 4 of them. The youngest was 6, the oldest is 20. And I told their parents, I said, listen, I'm gonna take your kids all day, but you want snacks. And I need you to get drinks and ice in the cooler. I don't want to have to do everything. So I realized that asking for what I need, you'd be surprised how quickly that's all you want.
Yeah.
And they give it to me versus me sitting here saying, I'm taking your kids and then I'm mad because they didn't take initiative.
Right.
I'm like, well, maybe I should have just asked them. But sometimes you want people to take initiative. So I've learned how to navigate that a little bit better.
So
in terms of asking what I need.
So to answer what you said, I mean, then I guess what I need or who checks on me, I would say would be the people that are closest to me.
Yeah.
So my inner circle is very, very, very small. I don't deal with many people. I keep my circle very small to myself. And those people are the people that I can, lean on, talk to. Because I don't talk to many people at all. I talk to my son. I talk to my brother in comedy. And I talk to 2 other people. That's it on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to like dark things that I deal with, I personally, I'd rather get a therapist, somebody that's neutral, that doesn't have ties to anybody, and I can get those thoughts off.
Yeah.
But with AI now, I could just talk to a computer screen.
Don't you say that on my show. How dare he talk about he gonna talk to AI?
Not AI, but
artificial intelligence.
Like I could just sit in front of the mirror and tell myself, look, get your big self up and do what you need, you know? So,
I feel that affirmations and mirror mantras are really good. And in all fairness, right? Some people don't believe in calculators, right? They want you to do the math in your head, but the calculator is a tool. I believe that AI is definitely a tool if you already know where you're going with it. It's like if you had a therapist before, you've read some psychology books. Other than that, just putting numbers in the calculator, you don't know math at all. You could get this big old ridiculous number and have no clue it's wrong. And so you still need to have some intellect with using artificial intelligence.
The people keep self-diagnosing. That's what it is.
That too. But I say this: use it as a tool, and then go talk to a professional. Hey, I was thinking, this is what I was thinking, or it makes you be more knowledgeable. But don't just take everything face value.
You're just gonna have a crazy computer at your house,
right? And then what happens? What happens though when it shuts down or it gives you something wrong? You don't even know it's wrong.
Yeah, you got it's about self-reflection. I feel like life, period, for me right now is just about growth, self-reflection. I love being by the water. I like taking trips, hikes, just being by myself.
Grown people stuff.
Yeah, just to like really soak up things. Being around culture, live music, artists, poetry, comedy.
Okay, so you're just becoming a Renaissance black man now.
Well, no, that's the things that just soak in and make you want to create.
I got you. But you're right, though. I think all of that is balance. Everybody's balance looks different. But I think don't get so inundated with work and stress of life. You got to have things that just allow you to be creative and allows your brain to shut down. We don't think about our brains like a computer, but we just constantly giving it information and it never gets a moment to really shut off and reset. And I think those things let you reset.
I think for some females, it's like that before. A lot of guys, we shut our brains off all the time.
Oh, Jesus. God, forgive us. This is Sunday. We just, we forgive us for we have sinned. So what is one of your biggest career lessons?
My biggest career lesson is do not sleep with anybody in this business. do not.
Marv, I need me some sound effects. Where's the mic drop?
It don't matter what it is you do. You can't mix business with personal.
I'm trying to tell you, I don't care if it's poetry, radio. You just got to, the lines get blurred quickly.
Yeah, so my biggest industry lesson is just don't treat whatever it is that you're doing. Do not treat it like it's casual. Don't treat it like it's nothing. Treat it with the respect that it deserves. If it's your business, treat it as a business. Do not. There's no intermingling, doing all this extra stuff if it's not business related or focused on, moving your brand or your whatever it is that you're doing forward.
Sometimes it feels like a lot of pressure when you everything is about the brand. Like at some point, you're like, damn, I gotta wait. Is that gonna be good for me? Is that gonna be bad for me? Can I do that? Can I not do that? But it's so necessary, especially when we're independent. And we're entrepreneurs and we're literally everything to our business. We have to be our own publicists, our own PR team, our own marketers, our accountants. So we're doing a lot. So you do need to consider those things when it comes to your brand. So we're going to segue to one of my other favorite moments in my show. I wish I had a drum roll, but since I don't, just imagine that I did. The bet on self moments, right? And those moments in life where you say, if not now, then when? If not me, then who? Right. A lot of people find themselves at those little forks in the road and they get stuck. Talk to me about your bet on self moments. I know there's been some huge ones for me on the outside looking in, like Netflix is a joke. And you've gone and joined several competitions where you put yourself out there and left out of Boston. Yeah, but other than those, what are some other ones that you might want to talk about, even expanding on the ones I named?
I think just this year alone, I said to myself, I had been doing comedy in Boston for 8 years up until last year or whatever, which was my 9th year. So I realized then I was like, I can't get where I want to go if I'm not where I need to be. So I just started signing up for festivals. And the first festival that reached out to me was the Northwest Black Comedy Festival in Portland, Oregon. And that was my first time on the West Coast. That was my first time away from the East Coast doing comedy. And that was an incredible feeling. And on top of that, it was an LGBTQ festival. I didn't even know. So I was able to mix and mingle with a bunch of different personalities, people, and really get to like showcase what Boston comedy is. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. I feel like this. Being here in Boston is Boston is one of those cities where it just cuts you different, where you grind and this is like Krypton. And when you leave here, everywhere else in the country, you're Superman.
Wow.
Or Superwoman. And that's how
a way
felt.
to look at it, you know.
And that's how I felt.
We're a tough crowd. I've been told, you know, if you can navigate Boston, you can navigate anywhere. But I've also heard you need to leave out of Boston to really spread your wings. So how do you feel about that statement?
I mean, it's true. I mean, it's not that you don't have to. It's not that you have to leave Boston to really navigate your wings. Boston is small in comparison to what the bigger picture is. You know, do I want to just be known locally, or do I want to be known nationally? Mm-hmm. And that's how I look at it. I feel like me stepping out from Boston is a way I can represent Boston and be able to bring things back to Boston. Mm-hmm. You know, I strongly believe that. I feel like, you know, just because I'm here doesn't mean that people around the country can't experience me.
You know, you better talk about it. I think it's scary. But I think I talked about that emotion of being scared, because sometimes feeling scared is also excitement. Yeah. You know, even anxiety sometimes is playing as your excitement, and you got to be able to not allow that to stop you and sort of lean into it. You know, every one of the guests we've had thus far, because this is season 10, have shown what it looks like to bet on self. I remember watching this episode of Oprah, and she had this woman on there who was struggling with anorexia, and they had brought all these people on who had been able to recover and get healthy. And the lady said in a very frail voice, how do you do that? And Oprah talks about that being a monumental change in how she did her show, where she didn't just talk about things. She tried to not only talk about it, show you, give you examples, because people really are stuck often on, well, what does it look like? They expect it to look like Kevin Hart, you know, when people are like maybe at the epitome of their career. Right. But I think at every level, there's success. Every level shows you the journey, and some people don't see all of the steps. They just see it when you're like this big star, right? And even in that, Kevin Hart still having his challenges and his, you know, hills and valleys, which he just talks about, you know. When did you finally really believe in yourself? Do you remember that moment where it kind of all clicked and you was like, you know what? I'm the man. I got this.
As soon as I jumped out the womb.
You stupid.
I hopped out. I was like, I threw two. You know what I'm saying? No,
for all y'all don't understand, when black people say you stupid, it's a terms of endearment. No,
I feel like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've always been confident in myself. My mom did not spare any. She always hyped me up. You are so handsome. Look at my little handsome boy. And she always hyped me up, and I would lean into that. I'd be like, for real? Me? And I would just, you know,
it's all your mother's fault that you got these attention-seeking behaviors.
Well, my mom was a good-looking woman, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like, you know, she was like, I was like her little mini me. So, you know, I always believed in myself. I'll say that I always had the confidence, but I wasn't, how do you say, I was very self-conscious though. Yeah, it was weird.
So like, people don't think that. I believe everybody has insecurities. I've gotten pushback that's not true. But I think we all have the things we really love about ourselves, and then there's things we don't like so much. I still think it's because we compare ourselves to other people, and I think that's hard not to do. Like, you walk around, you see somebody's derriere is bigger than yours. So, you know, you see somebody's hair is longer than yours. It's hard not to see difference.
Like, why God shaped me like a tooth? You know what I mean? Like, why I gotta be like this? Like, I thought we was cool, God. And you got everybody else out here. But you never know. Somebody like teeth. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I mean, now with plastic surgery, everybody want their body to look the same, which I think takes the variety out of it. You know, everybody don't supposed to look like a Barbie.
No. Everybody not supposed to look like a Barbie, but there's different shapes for different everybody.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
everybody
saying?
got different flavors of the week.
Exactly.
Or the day, or
the
month.
day, or the month. You know, as did it.
No, I'm just playing. That part.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
So, tell me about if you could put together a dream tour, comedy tour. Who would you have on there? Of course, I know you would be on it, but
if I was to put up a dream tour right now, to be honest with you, I think Jack Too Funny is funny, but I don't know what he's like on stage. So I mean, there's a bunch of comedians that I've like watched, but it's social medians now. You know what I mean? Like
social medians.
Well, you got to think of social media. You know, Jack Too Funny does a lot of like skits and stuff like that. You know, so I don't know what a stand up is like. But on a stand up tour, I feel like I would want like a mixed bag, like Chappelle, Sam J, Mike Epps. I mean, I think about all those old school people. I don't know. Like but now, like if I was like to create a tour now, it would be the people I come along with now. Like me, Jason Cordova, my man Reg Thomas. He just got on Funny AF with Kevin Hart. There's a few people, man. Like I just, I want to see everybody shine. There's so many comedians that I respect and that are good at that.
Yeah, just
I wouldn't
opportunities,
know.
right?
Yeah, I wouldn't know who to put. Like who would.
It'd be hard.
Yeah, it would be super hard. But I mean, I'm willing to work with anybody if anybody's.
Yeah, like just make that call.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Eddie Murphy when you hit the road or something.
Yeah, man. So what's one thing that always makes you laugh?
One thing that always makes me laugh is ignorance. I love it. I don't know why. Let's be for real. See, the thing is, we don't talk about that because, we want to heal all the toxic things about ourselves, but we love watching toxic things. I like watching them young girls ain't been through nothing yet. You know what I'm saying? And when you've been through some things and you know about therapy,
you want naive people are funny.
Yes, it's funny.
They don't know no better.
They don't know no better. It's like, come on, man. You don't have no self-regulation. You don't have no emotional.
I wish I could be dumb again.
Yeah, so it's funny when you get older and you see. That's why I realized like my grandmother would just sit back and watch us and laugh.
Yeah,
because she's like, "Oh, y'all stupid."
Yeah, like I was with my nephews, and the level of innocence and stuff they talk about is funny. And what they get mad about. He called me a dinosaur. And you're like, okay. Why are you crying about that?
Man, this man tried to take $50,000 from me. You mad about a dinosaur?
He told me that he was not my friend. Like, that's good. He ain't your friend. Get over it. All right. If your life was a comedy special, what would the title be?
Oh man, if my life was a comedy special, what would the title be?
Yep.
Wow. Still going through it.
All right.
Still going through it.
You better write that down.
Yeah. Still going through it.
Still going through it. All right. So we're wrapping it on up because I know there's, we got 365 Dad coming up next. For all those that didn't know, you're listening to Conversations with Coach La 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 right here on the Urban Heat. Boston has Black Radio. And if you didn't know, ask somebody and download that iHeartRadio app. So Coach's Corner. This is a moment in the show where we kind of summarize, wrap it up. If you were in a fight, because sometimes life feels like a fight. Well, I got to fight all my life. I had to fight. And now we just pulled you out, and me and Big D is your coaches, and we over on the side of the ring, and we going to give you some tips on how you can get back in there and put your hands back up and, bob and weave. So what do you want the people to know, Big D? What you going to tell them when they get out the ring and they come over here with you?
And they come over here with me? Like to survive life?
Yeah, man, they're getting beat up. Okay. Ding, 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 ding.
All right,
they came over here.
Okay, I want you to listen, kid. I want you to listen clear. I want you to pick your chin up, kid. Pick your chin up and don't let them knock you down. Keep going. All you got to do is throw that right hook and you're going to knock them down dead. Don't just stop. Don't ever stop. That's what... I'm being in all seriousness, man. I've had everything thrown at me, and people don't even know. There's a lot of things that happened to me, a lot of personal tragedies. I was on the stage and I was talking about how I went to 4 funerals in the past month, and it was true. Like I had went through 4 funerals in a month, and I was really going through it. I lost my car, I lost my bike, I had so much stuff. But you know what? At the end of the day, those are material things, and even we all are going to pass away. We all are going to have to deal with grief. We're all going to have to deal with pain. It's how you manage it, how you treat it, and how you can move forward that will elevate your life. So whatever it is that you're going through, just believe that you can overcome it and you can do it, because everybody's able to do it if you're willing to do it.
Well said. I think right now, I just put some Vaseline underneath your eye. We just made your eye look a little bit better. Thank you for that. I'm going to give you some water now. Sometimes the strongest people aren't the ones who never get hurt. They're the ones who find a reason to laugh while they're healing. And I think for a lot of us, we think that we only can have one emotion at a time. And that's just not how life works. You're going to have moments where you're grieving, and 1 minute you're crying, and then the next minute you're laughing and smiling about something the person has said. And I think those are the hardest moments in life, when you're dealing with multiple things and you feel like, I should be sad right now, but I'm happy. And you question it and you judge yourself for it. And I want you to lean into it. It's okay to not be one thing all the time. Don't put yourself in a box. And as I tell everybody every week, make sure you bet on yourself. And when I say bet on yourself, I'm not saying be selfish. I'm not saying don't give. I'm not saying don't serve. I'm not saying you can't be there for your friends. I'm saying don't forget to be there for yourself. Don't forget to believe in yourself. Don't forget to be around people that help empower you. And last but not least, change the way you think. Damn it. Till next time, make sure you join us for the next virtual couch, because Coach La loves you. And if you're looking for a therapist, I do have some availability, and everything is all well. Big D, thank you for being here.
I appreciate
this. Was fun. We had a good time. I hope you come back again.
Of course.
And sounding out. Make sure y'all bet on yourself this week. Peace.